Okay, good afternoon, everyone. We're visiting here in Chandra and Abhilasha's backyard. It's a beautiful garden you have here, Chandra. What are some of the flowers here? What are these yellow flowers? They're wild.
They're wildflower. They're
Yeah.
really thank you.
Yeah, no,
Thank
they're
you.
beautiful. It's a beautiful setting. We're here discussing the topic of resiliency in the Kincardine community and abroad in the face of this COVID-19 epidemic. And we've had lots of discussions. We've had lots of life experiences over the last few months. And so we're just trying to encapsulate that right now. And so starting off, in some cases, our society's response to it has been filled with anxiety. And in other cases, it's been filled, or there's been examples of people making more meaningful lives. My question to Chandra is, what are some principles or guiding truths that you've relied on to negotiate these challenging times?
Thank you, Mr. Morris. Indeed, as you said, that this is a difficult time or the challenging time, rough time, and how the time faces in the life is not in our hand. It's actually a part of life. The challenges comes and goes.
Mm-hmm.
But how we handle them, how we prepare ourselves is really an art of life.
Mm-hmm.
So as you said, that what principle I can quote from Ramcharitmanas or the Ramayana, which I have been talking to you, the philosophy from Gita and Ramayana past, that Dheeraj Dharam Mitra Arunari Apatikal Parakhiye Chari. During the time of challenge only, those four things are tested. Number one is the patience.
Mm-hmm.
Number two is the dharma, that means your belief, your faith, or your righteous duties, what you perform.
Mm-hmm.
And number three is your friends.
Mm-hmm.
And number fourth is your spouse.
Sure. Yeah.
So these are really important things to be tested at the time of challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So this is even the challenge, but at the same time, it can become an opportunity to make the life more meaningful,
Mm-hmm.
to get to go within and look at the purpose of life, what we have been doing, our path is the righteous way or not, then in what way we can perform our day-to-day experience. At the same time, we can really make a meaningful difference in the society and in this world.
Right.
I think so. As you ask the principles, these are my principles. I am really believing, and my parents has taught us, my scriptures has taught us, and that is what I lived with. Another thing is that how to make that happens. Another slok I can quote from Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, that dharmaya yashase arthaya kamaya swajanaya cha panchadha vibhajan vityam abhya mutta cha modate. You should be using your skill, time, and resources wisely, whether at the time of challenge or even the normal way. First thing is to fulfill your righteous desire, to help your family, friends, relatives. Number three is to grow your money so that you have enough
And resources.
Yeah. And the fourth one is really making something meaningful in the society,
Mm-hmm.
so that people remember, and in another way, leaving your positive footprint in the society. And the fifth one is contributing towards the belief or the faith or the righteous things can prevail in the world. So these are the 5 places. So these are the 2 basic things which I have been using.
Mm-hmm.
How would you how you have been using your time during this challenging period?
Yeah, it's been interesting. I had the opportunity to be teaching a philosophy class, some really brilliant students back in the springtime. And, whether it be metaphysical principles around a soul or a mind, something along the lines of being immaterial that is the most meaningful, that is what guides or shapes things. And so people of faith, whether they be Christians, Hindus, Muslims, Buddhists, there are these immaterial guiding elements. To the ancient Greeks, it was ideas, ideos, right? Forms that shape things. So ideas, become or shape into words, and through our mouths and what we say to others, right? Or what we even say to ourselves or think to ourselves shapes attitudes. So there can be that aspect of an essential element within an individual that is guiding. I think people need, and I think people were starting to lean on that a little bit more in the springtime. In contrast to that, there are also people who are atheists, people who are maybe existentialists. And that too has a similar guiding principle. It's different in the sense that it focuses on existence. What is material is first and foremost. But that material to an existentialist is, like you're saying, in terms of righteous acts or what you do, how it impacts others. What you were saying, Chandra, that's very much at the heart of existentialism as much as it would be at any of the religions I just spoke of. Because in existentialism, the argument is that we're born, we have an existence or a consciousness first, and then we make choices. And those choices reflect or create our essence. So if you're a non-believer and you think, everything is just material, well, even more so to that argument, what you choose to do, the words you say, create your essence. And the essence is what exists between you and another. So we're always in relationship with somebody else. And that, really hit home to me in how practical it was and how people really need to wake up. We can't just say, if I'm a non-believer, I can get away with doing anything. No, you really can't actually, because what your actions tell are your essence, who you are as a person. And what you do, how we act, matters. And so our material existence impacts and creates this essential element. And that's what people, I think, have become more aware of. And those who grapple with anxiety are those who don't know how to negotiate that, or those who have lost that sense of that relationship with others that exists in society. And those who are isolated, those who are on their own, people who are introverted, had a great time reflecting. And those who needed contact really searched that out, and that's where Zoom, that's where certain elements came into play to allow people to discuss and talk. But the guiding principles for me, just to summarize, were regardless of whether one's an existentialist or one is a faithful believer, the actions that you do reflect who you are and will reflect how you can make a difference in this world. And that's what we have to do, is make a difference. We can't run away. So now we're going to move on to this next topic, and that is, it's one thing to have some guiding principles, but what are some experiences in this Kincardine community or in your own home life that, you found meaning from?
I think that's an excellent question, what you have asked. And as you put that, it is a relationship. So this is also an opportunity to strengthen the relationship.
Yeah.
So as I said previously, that the 5 places where one should use their skill, time, and resources, I have really found, based on my past experience and knowledge and understanding and my heritage, that this challenge is really an opportunity to go deep within. So for strengthening myself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, with my wife Abhilasha, we have more, we both have a similar interest. So like yoga, meditation, pranayam.
You guys are both active, you guys go swimming a lot. And
and then since we live a beautiful place here on the Huron Lake, so the swimming is really the wonderful activity which we have been using, going on kayaking. So that way we are also enjoying the nature, but at the same time developing a bond. Even my youngest son, he's here for these 4 months during summertime, and I have a good bonding with him.
Yeah, because he's been doing courses, and he's been also leading courses.
Yeah, he's teaching in his summer program. But he has taught many things to me about the computer, And the good thing is that he's the one who's reporting, like recording.
He's recording us right now. It says,
So the technology, he's a
this technological
virtual imaging technologist. That's what he wants to do more on,
Yep.
do the research. So I think what, as you said, my experience, first thing for myself, I have enriched a lot in this 4 to 5 months, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually.
Yeah, you're physically healthier. You've been doing a lot more reflection.
And then to my family back in India, my sisters and my brother and other extended family, since I believe on the spirituality, and this is an opportunity I have opened up to them, as you said, using the technology or the Zoom and other thing. We do the daily spiritual discussion, half an hour on the life, that what life takes to, how we can make more meaningful life. That is the topic of discussion from our scriptures. And they all are enjoying. So from last, I think, April 15th, we have been doing this continuously, not missed even a day. So we have a lot of time, like 4:30 a.m. we wake up and until 10 p.m., almost 18 hours. Beside 5 days, 8-hour work, I have a lot of this time which I have been using for enriching myself, enriching my relationship with my wife Abhilasha, which we have a good relationship, and this has even made it more meaningful sometimes, even learning more about my kitchen things, and then how busy she is, what we value, that the more of our happiness is because of her, that and the background what she is doing. My strengthening relationship with my kids, like all adult kid. Other good things has come up, that my son also decided to get married.
That's right, so the engagement ceremony of Varun.
So that happened. So it's we have really enjoyed those things. Spiritually we enjoyed. In this community also there are some like-minded people, and we have a discussion with them very regularly, that how we can make more meaningful life by using these scriptures. And thanks to Joanne and my friend Devaki, who has given that idea, that the Thursday satsang, which we have been running for many years, that we can have online. And from last 5 months we are having on Monday and Thursday, and on Gita and Bhagavad. And that is again in a meaningful way, that how that can profound our experience, and then what way we can make more meaningful life. So it is not just a theoretical discussion, but we are reflecting ourselves, and we are making responsible ourselves and answering. So it may be only 8 or 10 people, but it is a really very good discussion which is going on. And Devang family has also joined, and sometimes other people join. So that is another thing. And then here in this community, as with you, we have been discussing with this about the education part, what we can do to the society, to the parents when they come back. We have been talking a little bit about the municipalities, that in what way we can strengthening and do certain things, that way we will prevent this in the community. So I would say that it is really great experience, enriching myself, making a meaningful way, strengthening our relationship with family, not only just my family here, the 3 kids and my wife Abhilasha, but extended family in India, my sisters and brother. And another thing which really with because we have been still paid, so lucky we are, and we made a good donation to the people by almost providing for, during the lockdown period in couple of villages in India, providing food supply for almost 2 months. Initially with our family's money, we started to do for a month, but my friends here, some came up that it's a great idea, and they supported. So we continued for almost 2 months, all the periods whereas lockdown happened. So really, that was a really meaningful experience for me. So this way is really, I have learned a lot, enriched myself on all aspects.
Yeah, and like as you say, reflect, and but it's not just theoretical. Like you've put it into practice, right? And I want to pick up on that because that's similarly, there's these principles or ideas, what you do or what we do, how it's then seen by others is where our essence or the meaning of us is derived. And I got thinking that during this time of this pandemic, what were people really concerned about? They were concerned about where their food came from, as well as their own personal and family's safety. And what I found really meaningful, what an experience that I had in this community, and it shows the resilience of this community, as I saw this intergenerational networking through the technologies of like Zoom, of like 92-year-olds meeting with 17, 18-year-olds, all the way in everything in between, all the age groups in between, in a committee with the Kincardine Agricultural Society, former students, recent grads, meeting together on this topic of embracing and recognizing the efforts of people in this community who are maybe putting their own gardens in for the very first time because they're worried where their food's going to come from, or they've been gardening for decades, and local farmers who provide a safe and healthy food supply. We were able to create something that is digitally based and improve the website of the Agricultural Society, but do something that enriches the lives of others. And that's what it's about. That's what you're getting at as well, is enriching one's own life and enriching the lives of others. And what we choose to do now impacts others, and it also impacts ourselves. Like if you're an atheist and you think there is no meaning, you have to recognize the fact that our choices do impact the meaning or the essence of us. Like that's created by our actions. And if you're a faithful individual of a Christian or Hindu or Buddhist or Muslim background, then of course you know that there's this eternal, immaterial element of ourselves that is impacted by our choices. So that meaningful experience of working with all these different age groups on trying to recognize and embrace and celebrate people making healthy food available to others. And also they're making their own lives healthier by being physically active. Like that was a really cool experience that I've been a part of, and it's reflective of this Kincardine community and the resilience and the vibrancy that's here. And more people can easily just get out and get involved. And courtesy of technology, you can join in on a meeting and see how you can contribute. That's a great thing about it all.
I think you touched a very important point, that raising the food and being thankful to all those people who bring the food to our table. Mm-hmm. And we could also raise our garden this year.
Yes,
and as you
garden. Yeah.
You know that you and I, we have shared, and particularly you brought things and helping your friends in their farm. Mm-hmm. And I would like to hear a little bit more about how you manage the grief, because this is a hard time. That's another thing.
Yeah, grief.
I've been
many people have grieved. Yeah,
a couple of people during this time who lost their beloved one. So that was also
the loss of loved ones. Yeah, and I went through that in this last little period, and family did. Yeah, and it really drives back to that notion of something immaterial, right? And there was this passage I remember during the dying process of this family member that came across 2 Corinthians 4, 7 to 18. And you and I have talked about it since then, of how it was very similar to chapter 2 in the Bhagavad Gita. It shows the interconnections that have existed between many religions in their development. So it really was focusing on that what is material, what is physical is going to fade away. And it has no meaning, really. And it's like a clay vessel. Our bodies are like a clay vessel, and this life is like a clay vessel. And so what is the most important is the immaterial, to the soul or the essence of one's being. So if you're an existentialist, I keep on driving this one home. If you're an atheist and existentialist, then you create your essence by the choices that you make, the actions that you follow through on. And to a believer, then you know that the soul needs to be nurtured and nourished, and that can give one solace in a time of grief or loss, to know that a loved one or somebody close to them is going to survive the immaterial. And that brings us to this point of consciousness, right? What do you think? Because some people would argue that our consciousness continues. In many philosophies, and in physics, right, the laws of physics, matter doesn't go into nothing, right? Things don't fade away. So the consciousness that exists is still there beyond death. So what would you think people need to be more conscious of going forward into this fall of, there's still uncertainty about how does one live one's life, go to school or go to work in light of this uncertainty? What should we be conscious of?
I think one thing, as you have rightly alluded to, we all have to accept the inevitable truth. There are two things. One is the consciousness that will always remain, that we call it soul, and it will never die. And then there's the material things which will become a non-existence. Like we says, na shato vidyate bhavo na vidyate sata, means there's a place only for sat, that's the truth, and the truth is that inevitable things we have to accept. Those challenges will come in life. It's a part of life. If, using the principle and belief, what people believe, their own belief and experience of others, they have to make themselves strong and profound everyday experience by living in present and then making some meaningful contribution.
That's the key point you're saying. Don't go blindly through life, but be very profound in what you're interacting with and be conscious of it.
Yeah, like we are conscious about these flowers, what we are seeing here. And we are conscious of all that greenery, and we enjoy this trail, enjoy the lake, and all those things which we
But you made this possible, you and your wife made this possible by being conscious, planting the seeds, nurturing the plants, right? So that this kind of beauty, this essence, this spiritual interaction with nature is possible.
I think it is possible for everyone. Everyone has a time and energy, only they have to open their eyes, sometimes go deep within and think the purpose of life, and it will open, the gate will be opened for everyone.
That's right, and not fear death, right?
No, death is going to come. It's an inevitable truth.
It's an inevitable truth, that's right.
And we just have to accept that. Whether it is me or you or everyone has to die one day.
That's right.
But we want to make it meaningful until we live.
That's right. And so to stand up, we need to stand up, we need to move forward. And as opposed to, the opposite is to sort of be in constant fear, almost like to live on our knees, right? And not be able to move forward. But if we're on our feet and we make conscious choices and we move forward, that's going to impact and help others and develop ourselves as well, then that's going to be the solution. That's what we need to be conscious of.
Okay.
All right, thank you for this time.
Thank you very much. Right. I think we really have to always maintain the social distance.
Do. That was a good,
and thank
that was a good mistake on my part and a good comeback. Very good. Yeah, always learning.
What do you think?
Might have to work on that ending a little bit more, but